Hi, my name is Daniel Carr. I'm doing a case study for West Texas A&M risk management class over the Moore, Oklahoma tornado, May 20th, 2013. Brief rundown of the city of Moore. The population in 2013 was 58,287. In 2017, 61,523. Has 22 square miles. The median household income was just over 60,000. The weather on this day from the National Weather Service was pretty much like any other spring day in Oklahoma. Chance of thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s, lower 90s, low in the lows at night, and in the early mornings were in the upper 60s. The 3-day forecast over the weekend showed severe thunderstorms. Significant severe thunderstorms were probable for Sunday and Monday, 20 to 70% chance. That afternoon on the 20th, the tornado watch at 110 went into effect. That was including Moore in central Oklahoma. At 2:12, thunderstorm warning went into effect for Moore, stating that there was a thunderstorm imminent for the city of Moore. Tornado warning went into effect at 2:40 p.m. Central Standard Time for Moore. That means that there's an imminent threat for a tornado. Does not mean that there is an actual tornado on the ground. It just means that there's a tornado in the area, and it could happen at any time. Tornado emergency went into effect at 3:01, which means there is a tornado on the ground inside the city limits of Moore or just outside the city limits. Moore about to approach Moore and is causing significant damage. Tornado threat was lifted at 3:36 p.m. when the tornado lifted off the ground and went back up into the clouds. Here's a video from KFOR from Emily Sutton talking about her experience with the tornado.
Back in the newsroom, she tracked this F5 tornado through Moore. Emily, you have more right now.
Yes, I do, Mike, and great job with all of this coverage, just doing wall-to-wall coverage straight today, yesterday, and even Saturday. This has been a 3-day weather event. We've been tracking it for more than a week now, and the 411 Storm Center stressing the importance of just tornado safety, and it just broke our hearts to see this tornado moving through Moore. Photojournalist Kevin Josephy and I started out on those storms in the metro, and then once we heard that storm was quickly ramping up, it happened in less than an hour that it turned tornadic. We raced south to meet up with it, and we were actually on the east side of it. So in other words, it was heading straight towards us. And check out this video. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
There it is, right there.
As we raced down I-35 towards Moore, photojournalist Kevin Josephy and I had no idea we were about to stare in the face of a monster EF5 tornado.
Yes, we have the tornado right in front of us, right in front of us.
We veered off the 19th Street exit near the Warren Theater, giving a direct view of the tornado. Debris swirled around the intense circulation of the massive wedge grinder. Only a half a mile from the vortex, we slammed south to get out of its path, only to be hit by 80 to 90 mile per hour RFD winds.
We're in the path now.
Where do we go? South?
South. Just go south. Yeah, go south. Keep going. We're okay. We're pulling away from it, Emily. We're doing fine. We're pulling away from it.
Once the tornado passed I-35, we looped around only to be showered with mountains of debris, and our hearts sank. We continue to track the wedge tornado east along southeast 149th Street as it slowly decreased in intensity.
It's weakening. It's dying.
The tornado roped out 10 miles east of Moore, leaving devastation and chaos in its wake.
So, talking through the video where she was at, you can see we're right next to the left of the word Moore. There's I-35, and that is the path of the 2013 tornado and the 1999 to 2003. The tornado for 2013 became a mile wide, 1.7 kilometers, with winds up to 210 miles per hour and lasted 37 minutes from touchdown to when it lifted, according to the National Weather Service. Initial crews, Moore Fire Department, were dispatched to hard-hit areas within minutes after the tornado passed the district. They initially set up incident command shortly after at the Warren Theater, but was moved to the Moore Central Fire Station. During this time, multiple agencies from all over the state of Oklahoma were being called from incident command and also the governor's office to deploy units to come help to the area. Staging area was set up for EMS and fire at Home Depot and Target. The staging area for PD was located at Walmart and Moore, as you saw in the video when they're pointing right at the tornado. There was Walmart, and then on the other side of the highway, to the left of the screen, you couldn't see, was Target and Home Depot. After the storm, recovery started 12 to 16 hours after the initial incident. Complication from the disaster was freelancing fire departments and EMS agencies coming to help that were not called, causing confusion and communications problem with that. Another communication is their 800 megahertz radios failed. City of Moore is still looking at other ways to improve their radio systems, either by going to direct talk channels or digital radios or other means. Another communication breakdown they had was Area Command Oklahoma City is on either side of Moore, kind of comes down, loops over Moore a little bit from the north, east, and west side. Confusion on resources allocating them in certain areas. Confusion with that. According to Mark Murdoch of the Moore Fire Department, he states they weren't really in connection and talks with them until that next morning. He said they have now come up with pre-emergent plans, pre-disaster plans, and everything, talking about Area Command. With that, he said another issue that they had was communication with other resources coming out of town, not knowing where to go. Since then, they've created what they call a tornado kit or disaster kit. They have ICS forms in order to start the disaster paperwork. They also have copies of the map pages for Moore for outside agencies that come in. So they now have map pages for all outside agencies. And they have papers for people that approach the fire station needing resources for disaster help and all that stuff. He said another issue they had was locating storm shelters within the city. He said prior to this incident, they were only able, it was voluntary for you to submit that you had a storm shelter and where it was at to the city of Moore. Since this incident is now mandatory, he said the only issues they have is outside contractors from not around the Metroplex putting in storm shelters and families moving in not stating that they have a storm shelter. He said there's a software app that's been developed for the city of Moore and other cities that if a responding agency comes into the area, Moore can give the ID and the password, and they can locate every storm shelter within the city, and it goes down to specifics if it's in the backyard, front yard, garage, or if it's a storm room. Another implications that they've started is stronger roof connections. He said a lot of the roofs were getting torn off houses and becoming projectiles during the storm and causing more damage than should have been, so that's building construction is becoming greater. Schools now in the city of Moore have all been developed. Storm shelters now, whether in ground or within schools. One school was hit, Plaza Elementary, did not have a storm shelter. 7 children died during that tornado. Large wall fell on the children. They died in the elementary school. Since then, all elementary schools and all school districts are now have storm shelters or some type of shelter in place for the children. Another thing they've had is they notify parents and identify what children are at school at what times, better head count. Another thing is they have severe weather days within the school in place, just like snow days, that if it is imminent and there's a really high chance for tornadoes that day, either the kids will be let out early and taken home or they will just cancel school altogether for that day. Improvements are still going on within the city. According to Mark Murdoch of the fire department. The final numbers he sent me, casualties 25 were total in the city of Moore. 10 were children, 7 of them were from Plaza Elementary School. Financial costs, according to the New York Times and New York Post, there was no final estimate that has been placed, but they still estimated between $2 to $3 billion. Buildings destroyed was 1,000, 1,200 more were damaged within the city limits of Moore. According to Mark Murdoch, he has not seen any financial problems within the city of Moore. He said, if anything, he's seen growth within the city of Moore, more businesses moving in. He said there are some businesses that did not come back after the tornado, but since then, other businesses have replaced them. There was one hospital inside the city limits that was completely destroyed, was torn down and actually rebuilt, and actually has a better survival rate. Last he heard, there was still no deaths within that hospital after the tornado. There was a rumor he said there was, but he confirmed it with Norman Regional Health System that nobody had died in that hospital during the tornado. That was already a patient. This is my case study for the Moore Tornado 2013. Thank you.